Hey, what's going on, guys? Appreciate you stopping by. This is going to be a video response to Ballistic Prep. If you're not familiar with his channel, I'll put a link down below. I just discovered his channel not that long ago and really like the stuff that he's doing. Pretty much no nonsense, just telling it like it is, giving his perspective and view on things. And I could say I like his stuff. So yeah, go check him out and subscribe. So he recently did a video, and I know on the thumbnail it said something about Civil War, Red Dawn, and I've watched the video a couple times, and I don't disagree with most of what he's saying. I just have a little bit different take on it. And he was largely saying that there's a lot of people out there talking about that we are in a civil war, we're getting close to a civil war is only a matter of time. And he disagrees, and he questions, how would it happen? And he references a lot of like a kinetic battle, like the original Civil War, that there's battlefields, there's two sides, there's an army on both sides, they're engaging each other. And he said, how would that happen, and what would it look like? Where would it occur? And so my take is that I do believe that there's a very good chance that we are at and have been in the early stages of a second Civil War. And my take is that it looks quite a bit different than what anybody thought it would look like for those that have considered such a thing. What is happening right now, I don't know if it's the early stages of a second Civil War. I think history is going to show that, but I think it could be. And I want to talk about a few indicators, and I don't want to get into a ton of details. I just want to give some bullet points, and please share below what your thoughts are. But let's look at some indicators of a non-kinetic, a non-violence, a battle that's going on right now. So to start with, what's very obvious is occurring is an us versus them. I mean, increasingly, citizens are identifying themselves politically. We're no longer Americans. We are this kind of American, we're that kind of American. And by the way, if you're that kind of American, you're not American at all. You're a fascist. You're this, you're that. And there's all kinds of names and titles that are thrown around, especially on one side. And by the way, I want to make this clear. I don't believe that there's only two sides. There are many sides. There are many sides, and some of those sides can be grouped together and some can't be. But the us versus them identity politics, and it involves social issues as well, is huge. It's huge right now, and it's constantly changing and evolving. It seems like once one thing kind of goes out of fashion, let's say, those people that feel the need to grasp on to that identity, they find something else. Like they can't exist without finding that. I mentioned about name calling and stuff. They do the dehumanization of the opponents, the other side. Again, calling them names, making them evil, making them less than human. And that has certainly generated a tremendous amount of violence due to the rhetoric that is happening. People are feeling that they are entitled to carry out violence against one side because of what their leaders, their pundits, their representatives are saying. Again, calling one side fascist and Hitler and stuff like that. They believe that they are justified in carrying out violence, and we've certainly seen that happen. We have a breakdown of shared reality, and I find it unbelievable how two people that can look at a video or look at data or look at evidence and look at a situation, see it so completely different. There are facts involved in a video or in these things, yet two people will look at it and not see the same thing. It's really unbelievable. And it used not to be that way. Certainly, people in America have disagreed on many, many things, but they were able to come together and find areas that they could agree on. And nowadays, it's getting worse and worse. With each passing day, each passing month, people just cannot agree on anything. And again, that division and that separation is getting worse and worse. Censorship has certainly increased. It used to be, again, it didn't matter what side of the aisle you were on, what your belief system was. You believed in the Constitution. And there are those out there that say they believe in the Constitution, yet they will point to certain arguments, certain beliefs, and say, no, yeah, we believe in the right to free speech unless you disagree with us. And then those things need to get pushed to the wayside and threaten legal and involve law enforcement. We see this happening in Europe, in Canada, in many other countries where you can post something on social media and be arrested and jailed for it. Absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. And it goes right along with that is deplatforming. So you have people, and again, it's largely one side of the aisle that voice an opinion, and they are pro-Constitution, pro-Bill of Rights, and those that are on the other side and oppose that opinion and have a difference of opinion, they will group together and deplatform those people. I will tell you that a few years ago, I lost all my social media accounts all within a week of each other. I had no warnings. There were no explanations, no emails, nothing. Zero, zilch. I went to log in and it was gone. These had thousands of followers. I had a ton of content. Gone. In an instant. And I know the consistent thing was I voiced my opinion. And those that were in power in a lot of these social media platforms had a difference of opinion. And I was not the only one. I had many friends, many colleagues that the same thing happened to. So that happens now, not to the extent, but it certainly happens now where you have shadow banning. You have people that, they start speaking out a certain way and suddenly their videos are getting much less views. They have their followers suddenly unfollowed, and yet the followers did not unfollow them. They go to check on them and they're going, what happened? So that's happening. And I kind of alluded to this, but the normalization of political violence. It is now becoming normalized that those that oppose certain beliefs, certain opinions, one side is justifying carrying out violence against the other side, which is absolutely un-American. It goes against freedom and is highly dangerous, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. And this is one of the reasons why I say this is an indication that we are either in a second civil war or we're in the early stages of a second civil war. And it just looks different than what many people look at. No, we don't have the battles. We don't have battle lines. We don't have Gettysburg. We don't have a military over here and a military over here. It's absolutely a battle, though. The erosion of trust in institutions, and I'm talking not just government. Most Americans for the longest time have had very little trust in government, and it's continued to get, that trust has dropped and dropped and dropped. And I totally understand that. But also a lack of trust in hospital systems, healthcare organizations, law enforcement of all sizes and locations, corporations. You know, it used to be you would see Johnson & Johnson and you'd see, you know, no tears shampoo for the babies. They're wholesome and, you know, they look out for the people and they do all this great. But now, not so much. Not so much, because a lot of people have realized that these corporations, and I'm all for capitalism, but these corporations, what they are absolutely, their number one priority is profit, which they should prioritize profit because they need to stay in business and grow and expand and do more hiring and offer better benefits and et cetera, et cetera. But they also value profit at the expense of the customer. That's another video. We have enforcement groups that are not law enforcement. So we're seeing organizations coming together that will rise up and go after individuals and other groups in a variety of ways. I talked about the deplatforming, the doxing people. We've had Supreme Court justices with busloads of people showing up and protesting outside their house and their personal space. There are organizations that are doing things like this, and includes violence. And that, to me, is, again, if we're looking at this second Civil War or early stages of it, and you're looking at all these pieces of a puzzle that when you put together shows what's happening, that is one of the pieces of the puzzle. Good faith debate. Charlie Kirk was somebody, whether you agreed with him or not, was somebody that would go out there and wanted to talk. He often preached, hey, we need to talk. We need to engage in healthful debate and discuss and exchange ideas, because the alternative is violence. And look what happened. That is happening more and more. You have people that are influencers and they have a voice and they have millions of followers who are fearful of speaking out because they're afraid violence is going to happen to them or their family. And there's threats that occur on a regular basis to these people. That's going to have an impact. And I think the violence certainly isn't over. We're going to see more of it. So that collapse of debate and talking and discussions, even in Congress, it has gotten so vile and with violent rhetoric that compromise and moving things forward, progress in the government for the betterment and the general welfare of the population it's almost non-existent. And the last thing I'm going to mention, I think it's the last thing, is calls for emergency powers. And I say emergency powers. And we see that a lot with the current administration, that nothing can be done without an executive action. And also on the other side of the aisle, you're hearing calls for extreme changes in Congress, how they vote, stacking the Supreme Court, doing all these things because they're justifying that the other side is so bad, so evil, so poor for America that we have to do these extreme things. We have to. We have no choice. And I just think that all of these are pieces of a puzzle that when you start connecting them together, you start seeing what are the early stages, and some may say not so early stages, of a second Civil War. And so this is my video response. And like I said, I'm going to put his video. I'll put a link to his video down below. Great. A lot of good stuff there. Please check it out. Check him out. Go subscribe and comment. If you end up going over there because you watched this video, let them know. So comment below. Let me know. Do you think that we're in the early stages of a second civil war? Or is it a revolution, possibly? I've heard that mentioned before. And, I will say that I don't think there's a whole lot we can do about it. We can certainly express our opinions and talk to friends and family and, see if we can try to educate or convince others that what is right. But largely, the name of this channel is Modern Exodus, because that's what I think is really the solution, is taking a modern exodus and getting out of the cities and moving to as low population density area as possible, becoming as self-reliant, as self-sufficient as possible. And when I say as possible, I mean that, because 100% is very, very difficult. But every step that you take in that direction, growing your own food, preserving your food, alternative health and medicine, trying to live as clean and as happy as possible, and insulating yourself from the effects of government, society, and big corporations. Those are the things that you can do that will really make a difference to your life. Yes, you can go vote, but the next day, you're still in the same spot that you were before. So, anyways, I appreciate you guys stopping by. Please smash that like button. Consider subscribing if you haven't. We'll see you next time.
So I ran from the cities and the noise and lies, found a piece of ground under open skies, hands in the dirt, sweat on my shirt, learning what living's really worth. While crooked men shake hands in rooms, selling souls to corporate suits. Society's sick, but I found the cure. A back road life, honest and pure. They can keep their throne and their golden news. This life out here's my modern exodus. I traded screens for a sunrise, callous palms, blisters, pride, planted seeds where hope